Welcome to Animal Football Insider, your weekly look into the happenings of your Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Florida Gators, and all things related to football. And now, from West Des Moines, Iowa, here's your host, The Animal.
Screen and take this off. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into this very special Tuesday night edition of the Animal Football Insider. Well, yes, we talk all things Bucs. I have Bucs right behind me, Gators, anything else that you want to talk about. We usually come on every Thursday night, but being that this is Thanksgiving week, we're going to do a very special Tuesday night edition. James Buck Wilson will join us a little bit later on. We'll talk about the Buck game that was played last night in Ray J over the New York Giants as John Lynch, was it John Lynch? Yes, John Lynch was formally inducted into the Buck Ring of Honor last night. It was a great thing to see. It was just an exciting time for John Lynch, and I'm very happy for him. But as you all know, this right here has been the topic of conversation all week, and that's where we're going to begin with tonight's telecast. When the Florida Gators took on Missouri Tigers Saturday night in Columbia, Missouri, a lot of people thought, well, you know, this might be the kind of game that the Gators need. Have the opportunity to get over the hump. Have the opportunity to win a big game against the Missouri Tigers, and had the possibility of Dan Mullen surviving another week. Well, you know, for the Gators, and by the way, it was a great game. I don't care what anybody says. It was a fantastic game. The defense came out, played very well. The offense, well, you can say whatever you want about the offense, but they did everything that they could do. They got behind. They never lost their poise. They came back, but was just unfortunate that in the last minute, the Gators were able to take the game into overtime, and then in overtime, the Gators scored the touchdown, and then Missouri came back and scored the touchdown. But for Missouri, instead of kicking the field goal, they went for two. Tyler Beatty catches the game-winning 2-point conversion, and the Gators win. Within less than 12 to 14 hours after that, it was finally made official. As Dan Mullen is no longer the head coach of the Florida Gators, Greg Knox is now taking over the head coaching duties and will be calling plays. Greg Knox said at his Monday morning press briefing that there'll be no major changes to be instituted. That's going to be mainly same business as always until Monday night, when we come to find out that Emory Jones injured his leg during practice. Anthony Richardson been taking first string snaps, and it looks like that Emory Richardson will not play in the game on Saturday. We're going to get an update of that and other things that are going on, but. As you know, Sunday I went off on a rant and was just really just upset by the way that things went down, because I felt like the Dan Mullen should have been given another year. It's happened, it's done with, and now we can have to move on and worry about who's going to become the new head coach of the Florida Gators. There's a lot of rumors that have been going around. Rumors that the Gators have always talked with University of Louisiana coach Billy Napier, who's been the hot topic of conversation. But you've also heard Napier saying that he was or not him saying, but there's been reports of Napier saying that he wants to, that he was going to LSU. Let's see here. My good friend Kenny Larkin, I've not seen him in a while. He comments, miss you, brother. Thank you. I miss you too, by the way. Did the Gators do well at all? No, they didn't. And if you just joined me, what we're talking about is the fact that the Gators lost the game Saturday night. They lost their head coach in Dan Mullen, and now they've been looking for a new head coach. Billy Napier right now looks to be the top choice or the top contender for the top candidate to take over the job. But if we come to you tonight, let's ask this question. Is he really the top dog? Is he really the top candidate? Let's keep in mind, we heard this all before with Chip Kelly. Okay? We heard this all before with Chip Kelly. Carl McGraw-Long heard all the talk of Chip Kelly as well. Good to see you, ma'am, as always. You know? And we're going into discussions on the Buccaneers a little bit later on. So, exactly. Jimmy Sexton, who's the agent for Billy Napier, would want you to believe that he is the top dog. In fact, there's been reports out that Napier's been demanding $110 million over the next 10 years. Seriously? You want to go to, but you never coach in a Power 5 conference school, and you want to become the new head coach. You want the Florida Gators to pay you $10 or $11 million a year for the next 10 years. Heck, I could do that with Lucas Mann washing my car every week. But the man misses spots every now and then, so he's not what's the trouble. But the point being is that, you know, these agents have come out with all these rumors. Now, there's been reports that Sexton has already, Dan Mullen has already been speaking with Billy Napier. And if you excuse me, because I'm trying to do a lot of things here tonight through Twitter and do some other things. So, and you know, and as Carl McGraw-Long would say, he's trying to get money from LSU, and Sexton's played the same game with Hugh Freeze. Now, there was a report today that came out that Napier was on his way driving to LSU. But there's only one flaw in that. Your team is still playing college. Your team still has regular season games. So why would you be in the middle or near the end of your regular season driving to LSU for that job? That makes no sense. Kenny Larkin says Lane Kiffin. And I'll be honest, I don't want a prima donna. I don't want somebody who is more to the team than the team itself. When I want a head coach, I want somebody who is team oriented, not selfish for himself. I don't need a prima donna like Lucas the Man Gator. You know what I'm saying? You know? Ah, man. Good Lord, son. Why don't you just hop in here and talk to me a little bit here? Because I gotta tell you, look at the Man Gator joins me here tonight. You know, I gotta tell you, I am so livid by hearing all this. You know, it just blows my mind at this point in time that, first of all, they would want to consider Napier. I think that is a joke. But second of all, to want $11 million a year.
That's what we need. The guy can recruit, and he's coached under both Darryl and Saban.
But here's what you don't understand: he has never been a head coach in a Power 5 school. Okay, that's what you have to understand. Look, we tried that with Ron Zook. We tried that with Jim McElwain, and look where it got us. And you know the definition of insanity? And no, it's not Lucas the Man Gator. It is doing the same thing over and over and over again. You just can't do it. I get the point where you're coming from. I get that, okay? But you know what? Here's the one thing that's really caught my eye in the past few days, and I'm going to let you take this because we got news today. We talked about how there was going to be a lot of recruits leaving and all. We lost Isaiah Bond. He's put his name up out there again. But Lucas, we got a recruit to that. We got somebody that's committed to the Florida Gators. The floor is yours, son. Please take over and talk a little bit about that.
There's a kid. His name is Chris McLean. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's a 4-star defensive tackle, number 101st ranked player in the country. He committed to Florida over. It was seen as a Florida-Oklahoma battle, and he told Steve Wilfong he was committed. He was silently committed for about 3 weeks, and he told Steve Wilfong that he loves the school and he wants to be here. So
Yeah.
we needed the good news.
Okay, it's Chris McClellan. He is a 4-star linebacker, 4-star defensive lineman that committed today. He's ranked 101st in the country. So for Florida Gators to get a top 100 series player, that says a lot about what they have done.
Without a coach, that makes it more
Wait,
impressive.
and another thing, yes, without a coach. By the way, because of us getting McClellan, we jumped up in the rankings to number 30. We were 43. Now we have jumped up to 30. So now that means that things are starting to build up just a little bit. Okay, so I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy with all that. Now here's what I'd like for you to do. I want you to take a little breather because, as I said, this is a Buccaneer Gator show. We've been talking about the Gators here for a lot of times and spent very little time talking about the Buccaneers. I'm going to let you go into the green room and you can have some of that barbecue chicken that's in the green room that I have there for you. And I promise we'll bring you back when you have stuffed your face. Okay, so just hang in there and we'll be right back. And while he's in the green room chewing on some barbecue beef, another guy, I got barbecue ribs because I had to. That's the only way that he would come on my show on a Tuesday night to talk a little bit of these boys right here behind me. Great guy. He knows a lot about the Buccaneers. He saw the game last night, and people really love his accent. He is, ladies and gentlemen, James Britt Buck Wilson. Welcome to the show, my friend. I hope you like that barbecue ribs I gave you.
That's some good barbecue. You know how to keep me coming back, Joe. Do you know what? I'm so happy I can actually get back onto the show with you. I feel like it's been forever since we had a chance to sit and talk. Fortunately, I'm here. We can talk some Bucs ball, but go ahead, Joe.
Well, let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and let me just review. Let me just review for everybody a few minutes what happened, and then I'll bring you back on in just a second. Now, for the Buccaneers, they're playing on Monday night. They were taking on the New York Giants in a big game. For the Buccaneers, they had been hurting defensively for some time, but good news developed on Monday when Sean Bunting was able to come off, along with a couple of other key players, to play in the game Monday night. And boy, did they come out on fire. Did they ever come out playing with a lot of up-tempo? And it showed. 30-10 was the final score for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the win. For the Buccaneer defense, they were able to hold Daniel Jones to 167 yards on 23 completions. He did get a touchdown early in the game, but they were able to force Jones to have 2 interceptions. They held Saquon Barkley to just 25 yards on 6 carries. That's pretty good for a Buccaneer team that's had its trouble in the past, and see these guys coming back and playing very well. Kadarius Toney, former Gator there, Lucas, if you're not munching on your barbecue beef there. 7 catches for 40 yards. Did not have a bad game. By the way, Barkley also caught 6 catches for 31 yards. But The key story for the Buccaneers: 30 of 46, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day, and that enabled the Buccaneers to win the game. I mean, you see these numbers. We can go over all these numbers, but the bottom line is these guys played a great game, and chalk it up to Mike Evans and his strong play last night.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you've got to sort of like be happy but rein in about is, yes, like the Buccaneers were absolutely dominant, and you know what? They did what they had to do. Let's remember the Giants coming into the game were 3-6. They were 3-6 for a reason.
3-6.
Yeah. So you know what? They haven't been playing great this year. There's been a lot of issues with like Danny Derps fumbling the ball. They've really missed Saquon Barkley whilst he was out. So you know what? They did what they had to do, and which is good because these games that we've seen in the past for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been troublesome, if I'm being honest, actually. Monday night football, Thursday night, whenever the spotlight used to be on this team, they used to struggle, but they didn't. They didn't do anything special. They came out and they handled the team that they were supposed to handle. When you look at this game on paper, I mean, I was 2 points away from like the correct final score. I said it would be 28-10 Buccaneers. Turned out to be 30-10. And the reason for my prediction wasn't that the Bucs were going to struggle to score. It was just going to be that they were just going to take very, very slow, methodical drives. A lot of people, and you know what, the announcers and commentators were going on about it throughout the game, with how, like Tom Brady had been saying in the week, you know what, like take what the defense gives you. He's not going to be afraid to check down, yada, yada, yada. And a lot of us who would have heard him make that statement was like, oh, is he going to be all checking down? And, you know, some people just understand exactly what it is that he was saying, which was that this was going to be just a very methodical game. If deep shots presented themselves, sure, they were going to take them. But having reviewed all the tape on the Giants, one of the highest like teams playing like a too high safety shell, so you're not going to get a lot of deep coverage shots with that. So you know what, you nickel and dime them to death, which is exactly what the Buccaneers did. And
exactly. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, his longest. They're not going to what his longest attempt was. I can get it here. His longest attempt was 35 yards to Gronkowski, who had 6 catches for 71 yards.
Yep.
I mean, he did a very nice job in distributing the receiving core. I mean, Evans, Gronkowski, Godwin, Fournette each had 6 carries, 6 receptions. Braid had 2.
Perryman got in the action with 2 as well.
2 receptions. O.J. Howard had 1 reception. What is wrong with O.J. Howard? He has not been playing too well. I don't know what is wrong with this.
Yeah, and you know, I'll come to O.J. Howard. What I would say is, like, O.J. Howard showed incredible potential when he was taken, and he genuinely looked like he was going to be the next great tight end. It just never materialized. He unfortunately just caught the injury bug and has never been able to shake it. Now, you see flashes of the player that he has the potential to be when, like, he does make these incredible plays sometimes. He's a big athletic guy who knows how to play the game. He, as I say, makes spectacular plays from time to time, but his confidence is just so shaken, and he just doesn't seem to believe in himself. I'm glad you agree, Ken. He just doesn't seem to be able to play the game, and his head is somewhere else. He seems like he is Yeah, exactly. Few and far between, and that's the frustrating thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kenny talked about that. Yeah. Nice job, Kenny, on that assessment.
If he showed some consistency, OJ Howard, for his talent level and his combination of size and speed and strength, would easily be one of the best tight ends. Like, I'm talking like top 5 tight ends in the
You're
league.
right. Yes, you are.
But because he's too in his head and he's all over the place, he just needs to, like, he needs to play the game for the fun of it. Like once again, he needs to remember why he played football, because at the moment he looks scared to play. And you know what? Brady can see that. He can see exactly how he is in the huddle. He can see how he is when he's running his routes. He can see even if he's running the right route because his head's somewhere else. This is the problem that the Bucs have right now with OJ Howard, and it's getting him to actually go back to enjoying playing the game, like playing free, just playing from instinct.
Let me throw this question out at you here, and I think the very legitimate question here, because Kenny's going on talking about Antonio Brown, and we'll get into all that here in just a minute. But you think about this: Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Chris Godwin, Cameron Brate, and all these other guys. I mean, I'm looking here, I'm looking here, and I'm looking at a lot of these very talented receivers. Okay, and it's like OJ Howard's not getting a lot of opportunities, and it isn't his fault. And I'm just wondering maybe that he's becoming frustrated with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been an athlete at a high level, and I've been injured, and you know what? Yes, you're always happy that the team is doing well, but you know what? You always kind of have a little bit of resentment for not being out there, even when it's completely unavoidable. And even if the coach begged you on bended knee to play, you physically wouldn't be capable of doing so. Now, you know what? OJ's got to deal with that, because there has been times when he's probably wanted to play that he hasn't been able to. There's probably been times that he's been able to play, but the coaches haven't sort of called his number, so to speak. So it is really, really frustrating, and it can absolutely become quite cyclical in the fact that he's going to get down on himself, then others are going to get down on him for being down and not being who he is, and it just goes on and on like that. He needs to snap out of this funk. I think nothing to do with a talent level. He's fit, he's healthy by all reports. He's not reporting any injuries. Yeah, it's like his head is,
I think that's not some wild statement. I think Kenny makes a great point that his head is not in the game. So I mean, it's a mentality issue, and I think Kenny speaks well on that. My only question I have about that is, Kenny, where the hell you been? Son, I've been on here for like 9 weeks.
You know what? It's like, as I'm saying, and like Kenny's saying there, and I'm glad we all agree, kind of thing. It's not a talent issue. It's not a health issue. It's his head right now is not where it needs to be. And you know what? OJ Howard is not getting younger. He's not an old guy at all. He's not looking at his like retirement contract, but he's getting on a little bit in years. His window to be the guy is closing. Now, by all accounts, just on a talent level and how like OJ Howard is capable of playing the game, he is the heir apparent to Rob Gronkowski. And that's a big thing to say. Like a tight end who in, 6-7 years from now, like 5 years after he's retired, is going to walk into the Hall of Fame. Like, it's going to be a unanimous first ballot vote. Like,
yeah,
you're going to come into the guy to replace him. His head needs to be in the right place.
You talk about Gronk. Kenny posted something here saying, "Is Gronk Brady's ladybug?" I mean, I like to know explanation on what he means by that. Maybe he'll type that in the chat.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm going to need to know what a ladybug is before I can say whether he is.
exactly. He's going to explain more about that now. By the way, Mike Evans, he caught a touchdown pass last night. He became the all-time scorer in Buccaneer history, passing Mike Allstar.
There
Yes,
we go.
Mike Allstar. Yeah, thank you for the all-time
Mic
leading
check,
scorer.
mic check.
Mic check. Once you get, mic check. There you go. All-time leading scorer, and that was fantastic. Now, the result from the fallout of that loss last night, Jason Garrett today, he was fired as the offensive coordinator. So that tells you that Joe Judge, the head coach of the Giants, was not too happy by what went on with that situation. He exchanged with Buck Wilson, yours truly, the animal in this edition of the Animal Football Insider. Lucas the Man Gator will be joining me a little bit later on. And I'm sorry, hang on a second. What? Now he wants ribs? Oh, geez, Lucas wants ribs. Okay, go ahead, give ribs. Give some ribs to Lucas, okay? All right, sorry about that. My director's, so.
What I will say about the Jason Garrett firing is I don't think it was just on last night's performance, if I'm being brutally honest. Judge, when the Buccaneers defense plays like it did last night, it's you can't really go up against one of the best defenses in the NFL and judge an offensive coordinator's job on that one game. Jason Garrett has had problems that are the same problems that have haunted him everywhere he's been.
Especially with the New York head coach of the New York Giants and of the Dallas Cowboys. Okay,
exactly.
Can he expand it?
Stubborn ass. That is his biggest problem. He is a stubborn ass, and he will not admit when he is doing something that's not working. And I told anyone who would listen last night that I'm gonna.
Yeah, this is what Kenny said post about the ladybug thing. He says historically and cross-culturally, people are believed to be talismans of luck. Some believe that if a ladybug lands on you, you should count the number of spots to predict how many years of good luck you have. Many think the spots indicate the number of months until your greatest wish comes true. Okay, I get what understand what he means by that. So
yes, that is the ladybug analogy I am familiar with. So yes, absolutely, Gronk.
Yeah, I think
you could see Brady's mojo was back. Gronk was back. Brady's mojo was back.
One guy's mojo that's kind of been lost in all this, that kind of got the headlines this week, and I want to discuss this right now, and that is the fact of Antonio Brown. Now on Friday or Thursday, reports came out that somebody within the Antonio Brown camp had released information in which Antonio Brown had given a false COVID card to the Buccaneers, saying that he had passed the COVID test. Now, the Buccaneers and the National Football League contend that this is not true, that they examined every aspect of this, and they contend that Antonio Brown did indeed pass the COVID. But James, if we come back to you, this is something that's going to be haunting Antonio Brown here for a while.
Yes and no. I mean, I can see obviously Kenneth feels a very, very certain way about it. There are things that I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about, just because it would not be fair to individuals. Now, this sort of all came about when the chef for the former chef, Antonio Brown, who is currently suing Antonio Brown for what he claims is $10,000 owed. Now, this individual contacted a member of the media who claims to have verified the text messages. However, there is some doubt to the veracity of that statement about the claim of verification. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers themselves are adamant that they were not contacted for a comment on the story before it went to press, and they very quickly issued a statement. Now, just to quickly, I'm going to throw some brackets in here for you, Kenneth. I'm not commenting on Antonio Brown, the person. I don't know the guy. All I can go off really is a lot of reports around him. He definitely does seem to have had a lot of personal problems in his life prior to his time in Tampa Bay. The information that I have available to me suggests that he's actually kind of realizing that this isn't just his last chance in Tampa Bay. This is his last chance in the NFL. If it doesn't work out in Tampa, his career is absolutely over. So he's very, very aware of that, and he's doing everything that he can. He's taking advantage of sort of all the help that the organization is offering. And as we say, this is his last chance in the NFL. He's not going to blow it. Now, obviously, the Buccaneers responded to the article issued saying that actually this is not true. This person then sort of doubled down and then said, actually, this is endemic throughout the NFL. In fact, teams aren't checking the veracity of.
Look what we saw with Aaron Rodgers and several other people who have said that they claimed that they were vaccinated, then now come out later on and say they don't. I think the big problem is something that the NFL is going to get looked into. But you know what? I'm also wondering too. The chef that gave this information out, he violated PHI, personal health information. I mean, I don't know how the law would stand on that, but he could get in some serious trouble legally. So that's something to watch out.
And this is why you've probably noticed, and I know you guys watching have probably noticed this as well, my language has suddenly become very, very cagey over the subject. There are things in motion, and there is apparently a witness who works for the organization who says that they were actually with. Now, this bit is hearsay, so might actually be completely false, but somebody actually apparently was with Antonio Brown when he had his second shot. So, you know what? And faking a vaccine card is a felony.
So there's some things. There's some things that's going to get emotion here. This is going to get very interesting. Bucs take on the Colts this coming Sunday in Indianapolis. That'll be a 1:00 game. I know you got to run here because I know you got some things you got to do. Is Tuesday night a good time for you instead of Thursday?
It's with work. It's we're open 7 days a week, so it's dependent on schedule.
Okay. Well, listen, you're welcome to come on anytime to throw your 2 cents in with all this, and so I want to thank you for joining me, and hopefully we'll Toronto Maple Leafs. No, Tampa Bay Lightning, son. Tampa Bay Lightning. That's the team that you should be following. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate that, Britt Buck. Thank you very much, and we'll talk at you later. James Britt Buck Williams joining us as we talk a little bit about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, let's get into a conversation with the Florida Gators. As we talked about earlier, Dan Mullen has been fired, and there's been a lot of reports circulating about what is going on. Now, for we'll bring Lucas Man to Man Gator back on in just a minute. I'm being told that he's downing his coleslaw even as we speak. But on a serious note, Billy Napier comes from the University of Louisiana. Okay, he's had stints within college football with Alabama and with other schools, but he's never been a head coach. Okay, the story that has been peeking through the last few days is that the Gators have been very high on Billy Napier, and a lot of people, including Lucas, likes Billy Napier as well. He thinks he's a great recruiter, things like that. Kenny, thank you so much for joining me. I'm on every Thursday night at 7:30 Central Time. More than welcome to hop on the conversation. So thank you for joining. Um, and he thinks that he's a great recruiter, so forth and so on. But this has all the shades and the makings of a deja vu. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's go back. Let's go back in time 4 years ago. Okay, let's go back in time 4 years ago when Jim McElwain was fired. Okay, was it Jim McElwain or was it Will Muschamp? One of the two was fired. And they were in a position to go after Dan Mullen. But before the Dan Mullen thing even happened, the big top guy that they were talking about, Chip Kelly. And if you recall how that whole situation played out, okay, Chip Kelly ends up going out to UCLA. Okay, look how well he's done there. Okay. But the point that I'm getting across here is that Billy Napier is the Chip Kelly now of this cycle. Okay. Now, the truth be told, Napier wants to go to LSU. That's the job that he really wants. And while they but the Scott Strickland and everybody's doing their due diligence, um, diligence, which I can't say I blame them. Which we bring back on Lucas to Man Gator on this edition of Animal Football Insider. I mean, they just you see all this and it just brings up deja vu.
By the way, Napier does not want to go to LSU. I can confirm that.
You don't think he would want to go to LSU?
No, I don't think so.
And I've heard that story too. Although I did see a report saying that he was on his way to LSU. But I'll go back to the comment. I'll go back to the comment. I'll go back to the comment that I just made a few minutes ago during the broadcast. Why would you want to leave to go to LSU? Why would you want to drive to LSU when you have a game during the middle of the week? This just in, courtesy of Twitter. Chris Lowe of ESPN is reporting that Liberty coach Hugh Freeze will receive a new contract through 2028. Will be paid an average of more than $4 million a season. Freeze right now is 25-10 at Liberty University. Freeze had been mentioned as possibly a candidate to get the head coaching job. Freeze is was mentioned as a possible candidate, but now you can throw his name out the window. I know you can confirm. I know you have sources that are saying that he doesn't want the LSU job. Conor McGraw long states that he does want the LSU job. I have heard people say that he wants the LSU job, but I don't know if LSU wants him. Okay, that's the big question. Does LSU want him? Okay, and if he does want the LSU job, I'm wondering if he's trying to use Florida as a leverage to say, okay, I'm going to use Florida and try and see if LSU would jump in and make me an offer that I can't refuse. But I don't know. I mean, as I said before, I know you like Billy Napier. I know you think he is a good recruit, but he's never been a head coach of a Power 5 conference. I mean, And you do not start off being a head coach at a Power Five conference at the University of Florida. I'm sorry, there's just too much at stake.
Okay, if you don't want Billy, who do you want? And don't give me the Bob Stoops bullshit because I don't think that's.
Well, no, I do want Bob Stoops, and I'll tell you why. Okay, number one, he's been a Gator. He's been with this organization. He knows what is. Hang on. Let me finish. Okay. Uh, he wants to be. He wants to be. I think Bob Stoops wants the job. I think that he would do a fantastic job. I think he's a name recognition. Okay, he's won national championships at Oklahoma. Yes, he's been out of the league for 4 or 5 years, but that doesn't bother me. That just means, in my mind, that he has a lot of energy and wants to get back to playing. I understand he's in his 60s. I get all that, but you know what? Sometimes having an older guy might be best for this team, you know.
If
And I like his swagger. I like what he brings to the table. Okay, now I get what you're saying. Okay, but if you're going to really and truly take this program very seriously, you've got to hire somebody that knows football inside and out. You cannot hire someone who maybe like a Lane Kiffin, who's a prima donna, who all the focus would be on Lane Kiffin. That's not how. That's not what the University of Florida is about.
and I don't know if you saw this, but I'm told that Lane Kiffin is not being considered.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I heard that story going on late this afternoon that Lane Kiffin was not even being considered for the job. USA Today saying that they recommend uh, Bob Stoops for the job. Now, um, I'm reading some. Let's see here. I'm just reading some comments on Twitter. Some are good. Some are just some smart ass comments where people are being stupid idiots. Of course, they talk about Chris
Hey,
McClellan.
I'm gonna get off. I'm kind of tired, so
Okay, well, listen. I thank you for joining me, and go ahead and get your sleep. If you have any more recruiting news, I've got
I'll post it in the I'll post it in the group. How about that?
cool, and also I do also have Swamp 247, so I got access to that too. So you and I both have access to
You and I can
latest information.
bounce ideas off each other now.
There you go, Lucas. Thanks a lot, man. Get some sleep. But I'm in favor of Bob Stoops. I think a guy like Bob Stoops would be perfect for this program. Now, who would be my second choice? If Bob Stoops is not selected, who would be my second choice? I would argue Gene Chiswick. And the reason why I like Gene Chiswick is because he's a Gator. He knows what the Gator standard is about. Okay. I used to live by the concept that, and I got mad at all these schools because everybody was trying to hire a coach that had Alabama ties, or hire somebody that had Notre Dame ties, or hire somebody that had USC ties. And I used to fall under the contention, or the contention that you know you don't need somebody with those ties. But little did I come to understand that you do need those ties, because you have to understand what the legacy is about. Okay. And Kyle McGraw just hit on the point a few minutes ago, just now, that you need someone who can handle the pressure at the University of Florida. You don't hire a rookie to take on a veteran. You do not hire a rookie to take on a veteran's job. You just don't do it. I mean, look. I mean, look at all the guys that we've had in the past. Look at all the guys that we have had in the past. The Jim McElwains, the Ron Zooks, I gotta tell you, I was a Zook man. I loved Ron Zook. I was hoping that he would do very well. They were not Gators. They weren't able to produce winning seasons. Now Dan Mullen was able to do a fine job. You know, I still would. Oh, that's interesting here. Mike Leach has to be interviewed again. Another prima donna. You know, I don't know. Maybe that is what this team needs is somebody who's a prima donna. But I don't. But I don't think so. I'm not the kind of guy that believes that you need a uh, you know, I'm not one to actually believe that you need a prima donna to run your program. You know, and I'm not sure. And I know a little bit about Mike Leach. I don't know if he's a Gator or has ever been a Gator. I think he might come on and make a good offensive coordinator. You know, and I'll tell you somebody else who also would be a great fit for this team. And people um people don't people may I'm gonna get some comments on this, but I think that a guy like Charlie Strong could be the either Bob Stoops or Charlie Strong could be the perfect fit for this team. Tom McGraw stating about Mike Leach saying that he has a home in Key West. Then maybe y'all take the Miami job. Which, by the way, we're hearing tonight that Manny Diaz may stay depending on what happens during whoever they get to hire to become the new athletic director. And by the way, do not think for 1 minute that because excuse me, do not think for 1 minute that because Scott Strickland has hired a head coach or is searching has let Dan Mullen go. That doesn't mean that he's off the hook for what's happened with the basketball. In fact, I can tell you from what I understand is that there's some things going on in the upper echelon at the University of Florida that could even have Ken Fuchs, who is a chancellor at the University of Florida. He could be in serious trouble. Okay. Uh, well, those okay. In Comic States, he's under sanctions and can't accept the job. I'm going to research that and have more on that next week. I'm not saying I don't believe you. Okay, I'm sure you're right on that, but I want to do more research on that. Okay. And by the way, do not be surprised if we hear Dan Mullen going to Jacksonville as their new offensive coordinator during the off season. Okay. All right. But there's some things going on in the upper echelon at the University of Florida, especially with the school president. Currently, there's a major lawsuit that could be happening here, and it could result in the possibility of Ken Fuchs being terminated. Now, I don't have anything on this; it's just things that I'm hearing. Now, one of the things I'll tell you is that if that could happen, a new chancellor stepping in, could mean a new AD, and then possibly bringing him um, bringing him to uh, replacing Strickland if there's a new chancellor. Um, yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Dan going to Jaguars. Um, Vince Gerasi joins in the conversation. Matt Campbell talk about him going to USC. I don't know if Matt Campbell would want to go to USC. I think Matt Campbell, and by the way, for those who don't know, Matt Campbell is currently the head coach of Iowa State University, and he has done such an amazing job. He is a fantastic guy, a good recruiter in my mind. Okay, my light going out. Yep, I didn't charge it up. Oh well, but he is a he's a very good recruiter in my mind. Okay, and the reason why people don't think that he's a but there are a lot of people that say that he's not a good recruit. Well, the reason why he's not a good recruit because a lot of people guys just don't want to go there. That's the one thing that people have to remember. Okay, you're going to Iowa State University, Ames, Iowa. Can't. I'm just saying hi to my wife, which makes me wonder if she's even watching it and not even commenting on the show. I'm shocked and thought about that. But nevertheless, um, you have these situations where like Matt Campbell, I think is a fine coach, and I think he could do a lot of good things. I just don't know if Matt Campbell is ready to leave Iowa State yet. I just don't know if he's ready to move on to a better situation. And I'm not saying that Iowa State's a bad situation. Okay, he's done a fabulous job with this school. So hey, Kimberly Seltzer, she's watching tonight also. Says that's Carrie, her daughter says hi. Hi Carrie, good to see you. Good to glad you're watching tonight. But I think a guy like Matt, but I think a guy like Matt Campbell could be a sleeper in all this. But I don't know that Matt Campbell would want to leave Iowa State. I think Matt Campbell has I think the ties here in Ames have grown so tight with Matt Campbell that I don't know that he would want to leave. I think it'd be a great move for him, and I think Matt Campbell would be a fine addition to the University of Florida. I would not have a problem. I would not have a problem with that, except for one main issue. He's not a Gator. He doesn't know what the Gator standard would be about. Okay, you know. I know I keep harping on this, guys, but you can't. You have to understand what the legacy is about. Okay. I mean, are you going to have a? And let me put this into the mind of my Midwest friends who happen to be watching me. This is like Kirk Ferentz going to Iowa State. Okay, doesn't know a thing about Iowa State. He's never been to Iowa State Cyclone. Doesn't know what the culture there is about. Okay, you know. But no, I would disagree with you about Stoops because Bob Stoops uh, was a defensive coordinator under Steve Spurrier for a couple of years at the University of Florida. Okay, so he's been a Gator, and he knows the Gator standard and knows really what it's about. So yes, Stoops has been a Florida Gator. That's why he is so high on my list. So you know. Let's see. We talked about Hugh Freeze getting the big raise that he's going to be getting at Liberty University. Let's see here. Let's see here. Matt Jones of Kentucky Sports Radio says tonight that LSU There are three people that LSU are looking at: Jimbo Fisher, Bill O'Brien, and Mark Stoops. Fisher's not going to come. Bill O'Brien, I don't know about Bill O'Brien. I think he's a fine coach, and I think he would do a decent job. But I don't know how well he would recruit. I don't know if he even want to go back to college. You know, yes, yes, Vince, he does have Gator blood. He does have Gator ties. Been a Gator for a very long. Uh, he occasionally will check in, with Gator boosters and things like that. So he has deep ties to the Gator program, and Gator fans still do love him. But so many people are enamored right now with Billy Napier. Why would you? Why in the world would you? Why in the world would you want to? Why in the world would you want to bring on a man a man to a minor to do a man's job? And I mean, and that's what basically what it is. Okay. Speaking of Jim McElwain, they're taking on Northern Illinois tonight. And as a matter of fact, let's talk about what's going on this week in college football because this is really going to be the last full week of. I think this is going to be the last full week of college football before we get into the champion championship games. Um, let's see here. Western Michigan under Jim McElwain's playing tonight. Ole Miss is at Mississippi State. Now, there is a report out tonight that once the Ole Miss game is over with, that it's expected Lane Kiffin may accept the job on Friday to become the new head coach at the University of Florida. But according to Lucas, they're not interested in Lane Kiffin. Thank God. Okay. Saturday games in college football. Um, Iowa will be at Nebraska 12:30 on the Big Ten Network. Number four Cincinnati. They moved up in the college football poll. Alabama, Georgia, Cincinnati, and the fourth one skips my mind here. I'll probably see it as we go down the list. Um, let's see. Friday night's games will have South Florida UCF, number four Cincinnati at East Carolina. TCU will be at Iowa State. That's a 3:30 game. That'd be a good game. Saturday, the Horseshoe. Ohio State will be at Michigan, 11 o'clock on the Big Ten, 12 o'clock Eastern Time. Florida State will be at Florida. That is the Saturday game. And oh, by the way, the SEC Network is going to have a command center giving their comments on the game. So I'll be watching for that as well as the game that's going on. I have numerous TVs. I'm able to watch a lot of things, so I'm happy about that. Let's see here. Miami will be at Duke. Let's see here. Other games. Alabama will be at Auburn. That's always a big game. Excuse me, I'm getting the hiccups here. Vandy at Tennessee. And usually the last weekend is rivalry weekend, so that's no big news. Oklahoma will be against Oklahoma State. Clemson will be at South Carolina. Notre Dame will be at Stanford. Uh, Nevada will be at Colorado State. And number 13, BYU will be against USC. And I forget who the number 3 team is. Yes, Vince. It is going to be Bedlam. I forget who that number 3 team is in college football because they came out with the rankings. Hang on here just a second here. Let's see here: Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Cincinnati. Those are the top four. Michigan's 5, Notre Dame 6, Oklahoma State 7 as of right now. Now those. Now I don't know if those are the rankings as of right now because I do know that the new rankings um, are supposed to be coming out tonight. So I don't know how those rankings are going to come out, but more than likely, those are the way. That's the way um, it shapes up at this time. Now Thursday, and let's see here. Um, hang on here. Thursday, New England at Atlanta. Um, then Sunday we got Indianapolis at Buffalo, Detroit at Cleveland, um, Miami at New York, Washington, Carolina. The Bucs will be at Indiana. Well, wait a minute. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why I was. I don't know what I'm thinking. Shh. Okay. So week 12 in the National Football League. Here we go. All right. So yes. So this coming Thursday. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. We got 3 games. Chicago beat Detroit on Thursday. Las Vegas Raiders would be at Dallas on CBS, and then Buffalo would be in New Orleans for the Sunday night game. Sunday's matchups are Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay against Indianapolis, Atlanta, Jacksonville. These are just some of the games. The Charger will be at Denver. Um, uh, the Rams will be against Green Bay. Cleveland will be at Baltimore. That's a Sunday night game. And Monday night, Seattle will be at Washington. You said Lions will beat the Bears. And there's a report out tonight now that Nagy, I forget Matt Nagy, who's the head coach of the Chicago Bears, there were reports out that he could be fired after that game. So we're going to have to wait and see. Greg Allman's reporting here that after the game last night, Mike Evans had his back had tightened up on him and said that he should be fine. So that's interesting. So I'm scanning Twitter one more time, see if I got any news that's happening right now. I don't see anything going on. So it just is, everything is going. Let's see. I don't see anything new that's happening. So it looks like it's going to be a quiet night. Now, one of the things that I would tell you is this: that we're going to be watching. We're going to be watching things as they develop. If any major news happens, Insider will bring you the latest on it. So I'm going to close this out tonight. I want to thank Vince, Kenny, Kimberly. Let's see. So curious again. I said hello, and of course, my guest James Buck Wilson, along Lucas the Man Gator. Thank you for watching me tonight. You all have a very safe, happy Thanksgiving. Eat plenty of turkey, pumpkin pie, sweet potatoes, all the fixings that you can have. We'll be back next Thursday night as we have another edition of the Animal Football Insider. Glad you could join me tonight. You all have a great weekend. And as I always like to say, go Bucs. And if you're not a Gator, you're primed to be Gator bait. Have a great night, everybody, and go Gators.
Thank you for watching Animal Football Insider. Be sure to join us every Thursday night here on Facebook Live.